All right. First up, thanks for your time, JJ. I really appreciate it.
No, thanks for coming into PodLab.
So in the newsletter and on the podcast, there's a bunch of things that we talk about over and over and over. They're like personal reinvention, midlife, business, career, whatever.
Yeah.
Media, independent media.
Yep.
Technology, and you hit all of those boxes.
Wow. When you say it like that, it does sound a lot, doesn't it?
Well, so I've been keen to get you on for a while.
Oh,
so
thank you.
I guess probably the best place to start. You're an extraordinarily well-known broadcaster, an author as well, now business owner. But why don't we start at the sudden pivot or change to step away from broadcasting?
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
Yep.
Was it 2 years ago? Yeah, 2024. Yeah, exactly 2 years ago. July 2024. I think it was the 4th might have been my last day on air. I just been doing it for so long, and over the years things change, the culture changes, the landscape changes. Like radio just was different to how I remember really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And it has become a bit of a, if I have to be honest, like a chore for me.
Right. Sure.
And I thought part of it might have been that I've been doing it for so long. You know, you're so comfortable.
Yeah.
Like being in a relationship for years and years and years, you know, and you're just so comfortable with each other that you forget to make things exciting.
Right.
You know, and I sort of felt like that in radio a little bit. And I just thought I need to do something new. So I just really thought I just wanted to leave.
Was it a slow burn? Was it?
It was a
or was
slow
it like,
burn.
okay, no, I'm done?
Nah. I left The Edge in 2017,
Right.
and I was exhausted at that time because doing breakfast radio is at least you've done it. It's hard to imagine how exhausting it is. But you know, you're up at 4 a.m. every day, and you're doing 4 hours of new, fresh, hard-hitting content every single day of your life for years and years and years and years. And so I just felt kind of depressed because I was so exhausted, and I couldn't imagine myself not feeling tired anymore.
Right.
So I thought, what I need is I want to go and do afternoons. So I said to my boss, can I do afternoons on one of our stations? And he said, well, I'll put you on Drive on More FM.
Yep.
And I thought, great, this means I can sleep in. I'm going to be a new person.
Yeah.
And I was, but the challenge wasn't really there for me. It was just it was kind of boring, to be honest. So from over the last 5 years, that was a long answer, I'm sorry, but
that's
did
cool.
slowly chip away at me.
Did you have a plan then?
No, because I've always been like, this is why I sort of hung in there for so long.
Right.
I was scared.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
what else do I know? I didn't go to university. I went straight from school to radio, so I learned on the job, basically. And I didn't have any, legitimate like diplomas or skills, on my CV. It's basically just experience. And I thought, what will I do? Who am I? What will I be? So I was really scared to do it.
Is there I notice, and I've worked with a lot of broadcasters over the years, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, is there a concern, an ego concern when you step away from that kind of thing? Ego in the best sense of the word, it's like, do I become irrelevant if I'm not on air or in front of a camera?
I think a lot of people would probably feel that. I didn't mind so much because I was actually really looking forward to not being.
Sure.
Because I thought I'm going to finish in radio and no one's going to care about me anymore.
Right.
And that's going to be a lot of pressure off me. Unfortunately, it's not actually like that. I'm still
you're still you,
a high profile person. Yes. And I thought people wouldn't care about me, but they still, follow me and say they miss me on the radio and blah blah blah. So I thought it would be okay to leave that behind, but there is a bit of ego where I suppose where you're so used to that attention and everything.
It helps you feel relevant.
Yeah, in a way, it helps you feel relevant. I guess that was one of the reasons why I was scared to leave. Like, who am I? Yeah, because it does mask. It's hard to know who you really, really are actually. Because after years,
so one of the other things we talk about all the time is there's two things. There's reinvention, or there's reversioning, and a lot of people think they need to reinvent themselves. But more often than not, what actually happens when people step out of their comfort zone or their job or whatever it is, they reversion themselves. They pick up something that they they either loved or, had a hankering for and turned it into something. And generally that goes back to the experience they've had, in your case, for the previous 30 years.
Yeah.
So would you consider what you've done a reinvention or a reversion?
Definitely a reversion. Right. Yeah. I don't hear that word much. I don't think I reinvented myself at all. I think I just slowly pivoted, I guess, in a way. I just did something that's already kind of in my wheelhouse. The thing that's not in my wheelhouse is running a business.
Sure, yeah. And we'll we'll definitely get to that. The reversioning thing, I think people, so you kind of said it, you're 30 years as a radio host, and it's all of a sudden, who am I?
Yeah.
And you don't have to discard the 30 years. The 30 years has value and is useful going forward. So what have you found in that experience that has helped you to move forward and reversion what you now do?
I guess
what you now do.
I have to say I am lucky that I have a high profile for moving forward.
Sure. Yeah, that's helpful. Yep.
I think that has helped, because I have some credibility as well, that when I start a podcast company, people are going to think, oh, she knows what she's talking about. So I guess the 30 years in radio have really helped that and set up my reputation, and people already know me and trust me from all the years. So I didn't have to start from scratch and trying to sell myself. Yeah. So that's a benefit that not everyone has. So
I think most people, though, quite often discard their past and think it's not of value, and they're trying to do the reinvention. So I have to now become a surgeon. I was a barrister, and that's probably not going to work.
Yeah. Well, oh God, no, that's a massive change.
Yeah, no, I'm joking.
I think we kind of generally like to stick to what we know and we're comfortable with in a way. Well, I guess I did, staying in the media is comfortable for me because I know, okay, I can probably do this.
Yeah.
If I left and did something completely different, like started a homeware store or something,
sure.
I think, I don't know, my customer service skills would have been fine.
What do you think in your makeup made that change possible? A lot of people would be very, very scared.
I think just getting to a breaking point, whereas I'm sort of if I react. What's the word for it? Sometimes I can be quite reactive, drastic. I thought about it for a while, and then I thought, stuff it, I'm actually quitting. And once I've decided that,
sure,
I'll just do it without really thinking it through. Right, okay. So I think that part of me where I'm just stuff it, I'm over this, I'm leaving, I'm going to go. Sorry, I'm really tired today, so I'm struggling with my words. That was a big part of it. Also, just knowing that change isn't bad. Like people are scared of change, but I actually do find that change is quite exciting. It's just it did take me a long time to have the courage to do it. But it's also like an adventure. So I had this adventurous part of me that was like, I'm going to do something new and it might be an absolute disaster. But that kind of got me excited again about something.
Did you have plan B or not really?
No. So my first plan was I'll leave radio, have 3 months off, and then I'll decide what to do. I'll do some emceeing, or that's what I thought I would end up doing. I thought I'll just hustle, and then the idea to come up with the podcast studio was a week later after I quit. So, thankfully this came along because I actually don't know how long I would have survived just hustling.
You don't know what you don't know, do you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. We speak at one of the focuses in the newsletter in particular is new and independent media. Yep. Just because I think I've been steeped in the media forever, and it's really exciting and also a little scary what's happening within media. But how do you view the new independent media space? What does that mean to you when I say that?
Independent media.
Yeah.
Podcast studios are a good example of independent media.
Absolutely.
And just all these creators, all the whole influencer kind of crowd now. Yep. People are being taken seriously as great content creators. And I think I think it's like the big companies like MediaWorks and NZME and all that, they are actually coming up against the little guys now. And that's really interesting to me because the big guys are actually struggling to fund themselves with advertising changing, you know, the places that people are choosing to spend their money instead of the old traditional radio, TV sort of newspaper thing. So the big guys are actually having to think like some of the independent media companies.
Employ the independent media companies. How you look at Netflix starting to do podcasts. You look at, you know, some of the other Spotify, you know, reaching out to the video podcasts and things like that.
Yeah,
it's
Spotify,
kind of like,
it makes sense.
Yeah, Netflix, not sure. We'll see, I guess, you know. Yeah.
Well, apparently it's not working very well for them.
I mean, time will tell, I think one of the things that podcasts, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know here, is the production cost of podcasting compared to mainstream TV is significantly different. I mean, it's a lot cheaper, obviously. And you seem to be reaching a much more targeted audience. So you know what your audience likes. It's less shotgun approach, more targeted approach to people. So how do you view audiences and your place in that space?
In podcasting? Yeah. Well, you're right about the targeted audience. Like the niche audiences are more valuable.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, so we try and encourage all satisfy our podcasters here that it's okay that your audience is small because they absolutely adore you and love you. Yeah. And so I just think for me, I have my own podcast, but my main role every day is to support other people in their podcasts. Yep. And I want to see them all succeed. And I don't know, and embrace their niche audience. Yeah. And that niche audience will grow over time.
What about scale in New Zealand?
The scale of podcasting?
Yeah, well, as the room to grow, it's a small place,
Yeah, because most people will probably have maybe 2 or 3 favourite podcasts. Yeah. So it's good to be in someone's top 3 if you're a podcast. But the problem in New Zealand with like we have people think that there's an oversaturation of podcasts. Yeah. That's just some weird rumor. I don't know where that comes from, but they just assume. And maybe worldwide, not even, there isn't an oversaturation of podcasts for a start, but people think that. In New Zealand, it's definitely not the case. Yeah. There's not enough podcasts here. And one of the main reasons is because it's so much work to do a podcast.
I think people underestimate that.
Yeah, and it can cost money. Yep. You can do it for free from home, and that's fine. Get a cheap microphone and set up and record yourself from home. But the hours put into it and everything like that, it's so much work that even if someone does want to start it, they give up so quickly. And because it's such a big commitment and it can cost a bit of money that you have to invest in yourself because you can't make money from podcasts. It's so hard to do that. Yep. And I think that's why there's not enough content. There's not enough options for people to listen to because there's probably plenty of ideas out there, but no one can be bothered doing a podcast.
There's always this interesting,
thing
that comes up all the time that content creation gets easier and easier to make. But it kind of ignores the fact that not everybody wants to be a content creator. Some people just want to consume content; they don't want to make it, and making it is so much more difficult than people think.
Yeah.
Would you? Thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, how long do you spend making your podcast each week?
Yeah, too long. Well, I only do one a month, so that helps me. But I do a newsletter every week. Yeah. I spend a hell of a lot of time thinking about what it's going to be. I think that's probably the piece that takes it. Technically, it's getting easier, but it's the thinking about what it's going to be and having the context to speak to is probably the piece that takes up most of my time.
Yeah.
And then the social element, which I hate.
The social media.
Yeah, marketing through social media. Yeah. You kind of get away from what it is you actually enjoy doing, which is talking to interesting people. You find yourself posting all day on Instagram, which is not me.
It sucks when you're not an Instagram person or a Facebook person. We have a lot of clients like that, but you're forced to have to embrace it, which does suck. So it does feel like a chore. Yep. A podcast can take up so much of your time. If you're releasing it monthly like you can spread the time out a little bit and manage it a bit better. If you're releasing weekly or even
daily, I see people doing daily.
Oh, the daily ones. God, I don't know how they do it. But Dom's podcast, the Dom Harvey podcast, he does 2 a week, Mondays and Thursdays. He is constantly recording. He's a few episodes ahead. He spends so much time researching. So basically, although he and I own this podcast company together, 90% of Dom's time is working on his podcast. Sure. It's a beast. And even working on my podcast or the podcast that we help people with, you spend hours. Guest booking is probably one of the hardest parts that people don't imagine would be that hard.
You run out of people for a start.
Well, there's that. But also just wrangling people.
Yeah, sure.
Getting them to show up on time when they said they will, or being able to coordinate schedules. That's a big job. But you've got all the, the research, the writing, the planning of the episodes, and then recording it, editing it, doing the cut downs. There is a lot. It is a big commitment. But, you have to do it for love. You have to love doing it because, like we said before, there's no money in it.
Yeah, sure. It kind of gets us to, so leaving the broadcasting, the independent media space. Now we're into, running a business.
Yeah.
So what did you know? What didn't you know? And what are you hoping to know in the future about running a business?
I knew nothing, and I still don't know much. No, I'm like, I'll just learn on the fly.
Yep. And
that's what's happened. Like we started. What do I need to learn? And you just figure out things on the way, and you figure out what you need to learn. And been a lot of people who have been really generous with their time and support, who want to help you, especially when you're new, and that's really cool.
Do you think people don't realise that people will help them out?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. Like I find it hard to accept help from people as well.
Yeah.
I don't like putting people out or them wasting their time or not getting anything back.
Yeah.
So I have that to deal with, which is annoying because I probably turned down a lot of things because of that. But my way of thinking is, there's no real rules, really, how you should run a business.
Yep.
So there's no blueprint kind of thing. There's ways that lots of people do it, and it's successful. But I just wanted to try what I thought without knowing.
Yep.
So uneducated me comes in and starts a business with Dom, and let's see what happens. And that's basically been what has happened. And along the way, I've learned, okay, I need to get a bookkeeper, or I need to talk to a lawyer about this, or I need to get contracts for staff. And, you just end up learning that stuff.
Has that been an enjoyable journey, or is that something you'd rather not do?
It's so horrible.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I'm like balls deep in admin every day, like all day, every day. That bit is hard, and it's not too exciting for me, and I don't understand the financial side of things at all. Like, I just don't. I've been told by the accountant this, that, and the other so many times. I'm terrible at it. Yeah. I'm definitely just the creative person who wants to, do it. We're making podcasts, let's do that.
There's a great expression, I can't remember where I got it. It might even be a book, but it's who, not how.
Right.
So the idea is, you don't have to know everything. Just find somebody that does and do it that way. So rather than go, oh my God, I've got to be a bookkeeper, I've got to be a lawyer, I've got to do all these things, find somebody that does those things, and you do what you do.
Yeah, that's true. Although I said something to Dom today. It's so funny because got another bill from the IT company, and I don't even know what we don't even see the IT company, but we keep getting these bills all the time. And I think what I didn't realize or take into account when we started the business was how many people you have to pay for things that you didn't think you needed. Like, the fire alarm guy was here before. Yeah.
Somebody's got to pay him. Yeah.
He comes every 2 weeks or something, and I'm supposed to pay him. Yeah. There's things like that which I was probably a little bit oblivious about. But, we're getting by.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to have slowed you down at all.
No, I'm like, honestly, the money side of things doesn't worry me too much. I'm like, we're a boutique business. I'm not going to make millions of dollars. Yeah. I just want to be happy, and I just want to make other people happy and do cool things.
That's something that comes up a lot when I'm talking to people is, as you get older, you stop doing things just because you want to do them, and there has to be some kind of serious reason to do it, whether it's make money. I mean, I get that people have to pay mortgages and things like that. But when you're younger, you do things because you want to do them, not because you have to do them. It's kind of like, if you want to be a creator, be a creator. Don't expect to be Joe Rogan, though. It can still be fun.
Yeah. I feel the opposite to that.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like since turning 50, like around this age, and a lot of women will say it's a menopausal thing or a midlife thing, I don't know. But I feel more like I only want to do things I want to do.
Yep.
Rather than what I have to do.
Yeah.
I know I have to survive, but I'm doing okay with that. Like,
Yeah.
So that's fine. I'm not making money here yet or anything, but I'm making money from like doing the odd Boost Lab post on Instagram and things like that. For me, it's about enjoying life now and stop working for the man. Because I feel like I've slogged it out for years and years and years for someone else.
Yeah.
And you're at their mercy and you go ask for a pay rise or whatever and you always get told there's no money and you're just doing what you have to do for someone else.
Yeah. I think, what do I know? One of the secrets to a good life, though, is having a sense of agency, being able to say yes or no to things and feeling accomplished at something. So doing something that you enjoy and you feel like you're building but with the ability to just say no if you don't want to. Does that resonate?
Yeah, that does, although I am bad at saying no, to be honest. I'm terrible.
It's different though, isn't it? If it's a boss or an organisation telling you to do something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can easily tell them no.
You can now.
Yeah.
Not so much in the past.
Are you doing what you enjoy? Is this what you enjoy, the podcast?
Oh, I enjoy the newsletter and the podcast. That's not what I do full time, obviously, but I like the idea of it turning into something bigger and bigger that I can spend more and more time on. Because I really enjoy the creative element, and I'm a serious introvert, so this is the only way I tend to speak to people.
Wow.
Well, other than my friends, so I find it hard to go to a function, for example, and talk to people. But if I can pin somebody down one-on-one, I can have a pretty reasonable conversation and not feel too self-aware.
Right. That's interesting because some introverts who think about podcasting, but they're scared to do it.
Yeah.
But actually, you don't have to be an extrovert to do a podcast, do you?
No, I think it's
safe in here.
It's a conversation, and that's kind of I'm reasonable at conversations. I'm just not good at small talk in a large group of people. Yeah. So I find this kind of thing, and it's much more interesting too, to be frank. And you meet interesting people like yourself and learn interesting things. Hopefully,
thanks.
That's right. If you look back, and let's say, you were 30, you were 50 and you're looking back to your 30-year-old self, what would you say about this part of the journey? What would you warn against? What would you say don't worry about? That kind of stuff.
Well, when I was 30, I assumed I would be on the radio till I died. I thought, I'd even joke, I'm going to die on the microphone.
Yeah.
I just couldn't imagine not being on the radio, even, past 65, like 80, 85.
Yeah.
There've been people who've done it.
Yeah.
So I think, like, just knowing what I know now, I think I would have told myself to trust my instincts more and not be afraid to follow my instincts and don't settle for things, because the problem was I got too comfortable and I settled, and I think I could have got out a lot sooner and done this a lot sooner or done something else a lot sooner. I don't know. There's so much life left to live.
Yeah.
So when I was 50 and I left radio, I still got a good, hopefully 30.
Reasonable period of time.
35 years.
Don't want to call it.
Yeah. All going well, 30 to 35 years. That's a long time. That's as much time as I spent in radio.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So time for another 2 careers.
Yeah. Who knows? It's not too late to start. Yeah. But I think at 30, I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought, oh, no, I'm washed up now. I'm 30. This is where I'm at. Yeah. So I think it would have been nice to know that I could be courageous in the future.
That's interesting. The word courageous. I have a theory that as we get older, we get more brittle, and we not physically but mentally, we stop doing new things, we stop pushing ourselves, and we get more and more comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like an elastic band. If you stretch an elastic band, you keep stretching it stretches. But if you leave it in a cupboard for 10 years, pull it out and stretch it, it snaps. Right. So it's kind of like you've got to exercise that mental stretch. Otherwise, you do become too comfortable. So why do you think you were able to make that change at 50? When other people would have said, it's just too hard. It could all turn to custard.
Because I thought I didn't want to be unhappy anymore.
Right, okay.
And I just thought,
Lots of people are unhappy. Why were you able to step outside that?
Because because you can be unhappy and just think that you deserve it.
Right. Okay.
Or you just think, how I can't see anything past this.
Right.
And so for me, I just thought, I don't want to be unhappy anymore. I've had enough.
Yeah.
Why put up with this for so long? And it was just like I said, something just snapped in me where I just thought, stuff it.
Yeah.
I want to be in control of my life now. I want to be happy. I want to be excited to get up again.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just something like that. I want to be happy so much.
Yeah.
And I am happy now, by the way.
That's good news. Yeah.
It really did work.
Yeah.
But because it was terrifying at first, I thought, what if I've made the wrong mistake and I've screwed up my whole life?
Yeah.
And everyone probably thinks that. That's why you stay in a relationship you shouldn't be in for too long, and or at a job you hate for too long, because it's just terrifying. What if the next thing? What if the grass isn't greener?
Yeah. I think and I think it was, I can't remember where I heard this either, but it's quite often a cool idea to write it's kind of like a pros and cons list, but it's, what can go right and what can go wrong. And even if those things do go wrong, what's your what's the worst that can happen if it goes wrong?
Yeah.
And quite often I think it's probably less than what the people think. It's not. Most often you're not going to die.
Yeah.
Something else will happen and you'll do something else. Yeah.
I think money can come into it a bit as well.
I guess that's a slightly privileged view, and that not everybody gets that option.
As you were saying that, I just thought, well, one of the things that did give me courage is that I owned my apartment.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, if the worst thing happens, I can sell my apartment, for $1 million, and I'll put that in the bank and I'll live off that.
Yeah.
So that actually sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I'm now living in my apartment. I don't have $1 million. But,
yeah, that's right.
So I think if you do have an asset or savings or something, because I'm not very good at saving.
It's still a big leap for people to make that.
Yeah,
that
it is. But I think it can give you more courage. Like a lot of reasons people don't leave a bad relationship is because they don't have the money to go and find another place to live.
Yeah.
Some bad relationships end and they still have to share the house.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with making a pivot in your career. You have to think, if you've got something to fall back on, if you can afford to do it, it will give you more courage.
Yeah, sure.
So maybe I was in a privileged position, but then I think by the time you're 50, you should have something like that.
You still have to do it. It's all very well theoretical. You still have to do it, and that's the real thing, I guess. Talked about it a couple of times. Relationships and things, and most people couldn't share a fridge with their past partner, let alone start a business. Yeah. So, I know you've talked about it a bit. Yeah. How does that dynamic work?
I don't know.
And where does it fit into the whole thing? I'm going to do something that makes me happy,
I think because Dom and I have always been really close, even after we separated in 2017. So after I left The Edge, he was, we were still really close. He supported me at More FM, and then he left radio not long, a few years after that, and started his podcast. And I was there supporting him, and we just good friends. Yeah. We work together really well. We have a good chemistry, a good dynamic. We trust each other more than anyone, and so when we both, he had his podcast, he wanted a podcast studio. I needed a job.
Yep, worked out perfectly.
So it's just well, let's give it a go.
Yeah.
And it just seemed to have worked out all right. But then, he probably hates me saying this, but Dom, he's very, 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 very good at just doing what I say. So if I say, Dom, let's do this, he will decide not to argue with me and go, yeah, okay. So that helps.
So what if you've got to this point, got a really cool podcast studio or a couple of studios, and cool bunch of people working with you. What happens then? Where does this? Do you have a plan, or is it just one foot in front of the other?
It's kind of like a plan in my head.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's one foot in front of the other because we've only been going a year and a half. So we're still in startup mode and learning where the need is. And we've learned so much actually in this time. But a dream scenario would be obviously to have a couple more studios. And we're a bit short of space because we've actually filled where we are to the maximum. We don't even have any storage for extra furniture. But maybe franchise, because it'll be cool to have studios around New Zealand. There's not too many. And that could be a great idea. But basically, we just want to be able to create something that does grow, so that can support us when we retire, and just kind of gives back in a way.
Yeah, sure. No, I get that.
Yeah.
What would you say to so moving off you slightly to an aspiring podcast or somebody that's looking to create something like that? Not the podcast studios, but start a podcast or become a content creator. What would you say? Because I don't want to get past the fact that you're still creating a lot of content yourself. I mean, you have your own podcast and you're out there all the time, so you know what it takes. So what would you say to an aspiring content creator?
Well, we say actually it is actually, even though I said it's a lot of work, which it is very easy to start a podcast. So, we always tell people, even if they come in here to the Flash Studios, and it costs $450 to record your podcast here, we tell them you don't have to come here. You can actually do this at home. We tell them buy a good quality mic, maybe a Rode mixer or something. You can use your phone for your camera. It's perfectly fine because you want to be able to film it so you can promote your podcast on social media. So I just say, if you want to start a podcast, you've been thinking about it, just try it. Try it at home. Just do the very basics, because you're going to suck at first. But,
sure.
You will get better, and pretty quickly you'll get better, and you'll understand what you want out of it, how it's going, where you think you can improve. And as you get better, then maybe you could start to take it more seriously and upgrade your gear or go to a studio and think about maybe marketing it a bit more.
What are the misconceptions people have?
I think, the misconceptions, that you're going to be Joe Rogan overnight.
Yeah, sure.
We have a lot of people who are very disappointed they launch their podcast and they get 30 listeners.
Oh, they're doing all right.
Not bad. It is hard to get listeners. It's hard. So the misconceptions are, one, that you're going to be huge overnight. But you think about when you start your Instagram page or your TikTok or your Facebook, you don't get 5,000 followers overnight.
No,
it takes a long time to grow your followers. It's the same thing with podcasting. It's going to take a long time to grow your followers, but you will. You've just got to stick at it. It's a terrible long game, podcasting. The other misconception is people think that they can make money.
I think it's, if you spend any time looking into it, it's absolutely a loss leader. You want your podcast to support something else.
A lot of people look at it the wrong way. They think, I want the podcast to wash its own face. But they're not thinking actually what the podcast can do for you.
That's right.
Especially for a business, for example. It's a loss leader. It costs you marketing money from your marketing budget to have this podcast, and you may not get the returns on it in terms of getting a sponsor or whatever, but it's building your brand. It's supporting your brand. You might get other opportunities from doing the podcast. Like people will call you up and be a spokesperson on your chosen subject on the news. And then from that, you might get keynote speaking.
Yeah, for sure.
You charge thousands for keynote speaking. You might get to write a book. Like, just think of all the other things. You could sell merch, have a Substack community and charge people a subscription. There are lots of things you can do to make money indirectly from your podcast. I think that whole my podcast is going to be the thing, and it's it's probably not going to be the thing if you go forward. Interesting, you mentioned Substack there. So I use Substack, and I use another newsletter company as well called Beehive, just because they're different things. And I've been fascinated with the way Substack has turned into a media hub. And one of the ones I kind of bring up all the time is it's a newsletter, or it's multiple newsletters and a podcast called The Bulwark out of the United States, and it's a political commentary kind of newsletter and podcast. They have 1 million paying subscribers on Substack.
Yep.
Wow. Why do you think people want to pay them?
It's a scale thing. America's a lot bigger, so 1 million in America is much more. Although they're all over the place. My thesis on why people pay them is because they trust their journalists. An interesting thing that I think this happened with mainstream, this is getting slightly off where we were going, but with mainstream media, less trust is diluting over time. And what is happening is people are choosing who they trust. And if you can get enough people or some people together that people really trust, you can actually get a pretty large sized audience.
Yeah, that's epic.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think it'll get to a point where mainstream media will start going to those organizations for their halo effect. It'll be like, it used to be that I work for the New York Times, so I have credibility. And I think it'll get to a point where the mainstream organization will have to go to the independent creator and say, we use you because you have credibility, which is a bit of an interesting turnaround.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
How the world turns like that.
It's probably pretty much a good place to wrap it up. If you're, I guess, you're somebody stuck in their cubicle at work, been there a bunch of time, thinking about trying to do something else, what would you say to them?
Well, I always say, just do it. I just don't be scared. It is scary, but just like what you said before, what's the worst thing that can happen? Just think about what's the worst thing that can happen. But also think about what is it that you really, really want to do? What's going to make you happy? Yeah. And if you know the answer to that, then that's bloody awesome. Yeah. Because some people still don't even know the answer to that. But just, do you want to feel like this forever? Yeah. How do you feel right now in your job? You hate it. Yeah. You hate you just don't get excited. And you're grumpy and probably it's spilling off into your friends and family. Yeah. You deserve happiness. Right. That's what I'd say. Just do what you want to do. Make yourself happy. Give yourself the chance to be happy. And you never know, it might be bloody awesome.
That seems like a perfect place to finish. Before we do finish, though, I just want to say thanks for this.
No worries.
It's very generous of you. And I wish you all the best with the endeavour.
Oh, no, thank you so much. No, your podcast is great. I know you use Riverside. We use it as well for remote guests.
Remote guests, yeah.
But I just thought I wanted to give you the chance to do one in a studio and, well, I've got one, so.
Yeah, why not? Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
It's an honour. Thank you so much, Alan. Cool.